Hey everyone, welcome here to this year's virtual 2020 Sub Summit. I'm super excited to be the host of this event called Setting Up Your 2021 Trends from an international panel of subscription box experts. So before I introduce my esteemed guests, I want to take a quick second to introduce myself. If you don't recognize me or my voice, I am the host of the Subscription Box Show, which is a podcast where I interview some of the most successful and brilliant minds in the subscription business 3 days a week. So make sure to subscribe and follow if you aren't already, and stay on top of the latest subscription trends. Make sure to also join our Facebook group if you haven't already for exclusive sneak peeks, insights, and giveaways. But enough about me. You're here for the panel and the guests that will help your business and the latest trends, tips, and insights for 2021. I wanted to have representatives from all walks of life, from different countries all over the globe, men and women that have seen and created success in all of their very own niches. So without further ado, here is your 2020 Sub Summit International Panel of Experts. In no particular order, feel free to raise your hand, guests, when you hear your name called. Representing the United States of America, John Roman of Battlbox and Carnivore Club. There's John. Anthony Coombs of Splendies. I should mention too, John, you're in Atlanta, Georgia, and Anthony is in Los Angeles, California. Representing Ireland from Dublin, Liam Brennan of Busterbox. Representing Egypt, Sherry and Halim Hassibo of AV Tree and AV Tweens. Representing England, John Butt of Blue Coffee Box.
Whoa.
And last but certainly not least, representing my home country of Canada, Ryan McKenzie of True Earth. Olivia Canlas of Meowbox. And Bili Balogun of Tribe Beauty Box. Which, Bili, you're actually originally from Nigeria. So is it fair to say you're going to be co-representing Nigeria and Canada today?
Yeah, definitely. It's also a big hub for my industry, so it makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. And actually, just a side note on that, I got a message today, I think it was on maybe in the Facebook group, talking about there was a lady from Ghana that mentioned she listened to your episode and she was really really inspired by it because it's
I've
something
been getting a lot of messages about that. Side note, I actually got a consult from that episode, so thanks for putting $100 in my pocket. I bought stocks.
That's great. Pleased to do it. It's all right. So let's get right into it. Not all of you will get to answer each question. Rather, I have picked specific questions for each one of you, kind of from what I know from you guys. So if you feel like you really have something to add, feel free to do it. But otherwise, you'll each have your own questions. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Question number one goes to Bili Balogun of Tribe Beauty Box. Bili, you're an expert when it comes to organic growth and intelligent ways to grow a subscription box without a massive budget. Hence, this is how you started your company with just $300 and 4 years in a new country, thousands of miles away from your home. 2021. Bili, what do you see as the best way for someone that can go out about growing their business with a limited budget, or maybe if you want to say it in a different way, organically?
Yeah. So thanks for the question. I think that when people think growth, they automatically make it equal fast growth. And sometimes growth can just be very steady growth that's still, it's still, numbers are still increasing. It just takes more time. So that's where organic growth came for us. And what I did there is just leveraging a lot of community platforms. And I feel like in 2021, with an increasing number of people kind of feeling alone, with with COVID, some people live alone like myself, and just in general having less opportunities to go out and go to events. I think that platforms like Facebook groups, but more emergent community hubs like Patreon are popping up. And that is a hub that people are not looking into to market. And a lot of different generations are in platforms like Patreon, and are just there to learn. But that's also a place where you can present your idea for lead generation. So that's one of the things that we're looking forward to doing for next year. And affiliate marketing, a lot of people are looking for new ways to earn income, and maybe they have a blog that they never thought about monetizing. More people are putting what they have, their resources, on the internet to monetize it. And affiliate marketing, I believe, is something that will see a boost next year. And then I think marketplaces as well are something that you should definitely take advantage of. Um, as of 2021, if you're not already doing that, we just got on Amazon subscriptions, and literally like 2 days ago, we got 207 subscribers in one day. I don't know what
Wow.
happened, but that was like the biggest like hike we've seen on that platform. So definitely take advantage of that, because those platforms drive a ton of traffic to their own URLs that you don't have to pay for. All you have to do is be there and take advantage of it. So we found that, Amazon works well for us. And then I think that in terms of relationship building, back to the point of people, putting themselves more out there. People are trying to start businesses. So if you as a business owner, you can be a bit more transparent in your business practices, I believe that people would be able to relate better to you and almost be an advocate for your company, because not only are you selling your business and your product, but you're also transparent about your business practices, which helps people really reinforce their loyalty to your brand. So those are the few things that we will be doing differently in 2021, and try them out.
Yeah, lots of gold there. So make sure. I hope you guys have your notes, your notepads, because there's gonna be a lot of stuff to write down, and hopefully this is gonna be downloadable, especially for the premium ticket holders. So question number 2. Without further ado, let's go to Liam Brennan of Busterbox. Liam, you have your own mastermind, your own subscription box academy for the experts, and you're seen as a self-taught Facebook ads expert. 2021 will be interesting. Things have been affected and are affecting Facebook ads in 2020, like the US election. That won't be there in 2021. Black Friday and Christmas will almost be a calendar year away. So what are some of the things you and your team at Busterbox are looking at to take advantage of in 2021, maybe when it comes to Facebook ads specifically?
So Facebook have been pushing something called the Power Five for a while now. It's basically the way they want companies to advertise going forward on the platform. So the Power Five is using 5 core elements, and when you use them together, you get the best performance on the platform. So those elements are auto advanced matching, simplified account structure, CBO, automatic placement, and dynamic ads. Now, they won't be fully relevant for all subscription boxes. I'll give you an example. With dynamic ads, that's really only beneficial if you have a big store and you've loads of different products that you're able to actually sell. But you should try to base your campaigns going forward around the guidelines Facebook have hit. So that means switching from ABO campaigns and going CBO when possible. Big budget CBO campaigns with open targeting, especially if you have a seasoned pixel and you've made a lot of sales over the last few years. You're going to have a lot of data built up there, and you won't even have to put any targeting in. Facebook will be doing all the heavy lifting, and they just want you to focus on the creative. So put some time into developing as many creatives as you can, testing them, and making sure the creatives your target audience actually like, and it's going to be a good user experience for people on the platform. If you can crack those things, there's great opportunities around Facebook advertising in 2021.
Love it. Good stuff. Thanks, Liam. Question number 3 goes to John Roman of Battlbox and Carnivore Club. John, with the rise of subscription boxes, do you see many or more companies looking to sell in 2021? We all know you acquired in 2019, I believe it was Carnivore Club. So as an acquiring expert, if you want, on this panel, if so, what is the best way to go about acquiring a company?
So I don't think we'll necessarily see more companies getting acquired in 2021. I think we'll see the same amount as this year and last year. I think, this year, you're right, there was a rise and there were a lot of new subscription boxes coming out. It's very similar to 2015, which was like the first uptick of or the second uptick of crazy when it came to the amount of boxes. What we saw in 2016 was a lot of them just went away, right? They were side hustles that people lost interest. They were more hobbies and not viable businesses. So I think we'll see, the unfortunate part of business. I think we'll see several subscription boxes go away. Ones that just couldn't break it to the needed thresholds to be successful and be self-reliant. And then we'll see some of the bigger ones fail due to the usual suspects of, improper forecasting, you know, bad spending, not really running a business as optimally as you should. Your second question, when it comes to where do you go, like what's the best way to acquire a subscription box? Honestly, I think it's your network, and a combination of your network and just cold outreach or getting connected to any subscription boxes you're interested in. There's dozens of those sites. Like Flippa is the first one I think of, where you can buy an e-commerce business or buy a subscription business. Those are, I'd say, and this is probably a bold statement, but maybe out of 100 listings, 97 of them are garbage, right? There's a huge reason that those 97 are selling, and most are not because it's for good reasons. You're not trying to get out when it's going like this, right? There's normally a huge fundamental issue with the infrastructure or the business model, or something with the business when they're selling. That's not to say there's that 3 out of 100 that might be gems in the rough that are a good opportunity. When I look back at the 5 acquisitions we made in 2019 and 2020, all of them came from network. With the exception, one was a network. It was cold reach out, and we said, hey, we're interested. There was an event at the business that was pretty public, so we knew that there was an opportunity. But those are the 5 that came from that. Looking at, we probably met with 10 from those sites like Flippa, and none of them even came close to the finish line, because there were fundamental issues with the business, and we're here on how we come up with a valuation, and they're here. We're trying to go a small multiplier off EBITDA, and they're trying to get a multiplier off top line revenue. So I think I answered the question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You certainly did. It was good. Good stuff. Thanks, John. Question number 4 goes to Ryan McKenzie of True Earth. First off, Ryan, big congrats to you and everyone at True Earth for recently being named Canada's 2nd fastest growing company. Ryan, True Earth isn't your first company. This isn't your first rodeo for sure. You've been around e-commerce since the turn of the century, so I'm dating you a little bit here. What are you seeing as a trendy choice to start a new subscription box? You've started multiple, maybe as a niche, or is it still wide open that anything could be subscriptionized?
Yeah, I think this is kind of a bit of a broad question. There's a lot to unpack, but I think I like to look at pretty much this space, at least in my head. If I'm jumping into a new subscription box, if I was, there's a lot of boxes in a lot of different niches. So instead of trying to specifically look at something that might not be saturated, I'd probably look at how you could do it differently. A lot of people get into subscription boxes because either A, their identity is already heavily wrapped up in the topic, or B, it's something they want their identity to be heavily wrapped up around. So looking at subscription box outside of just receiving stuff in the mail, obviously people sign up for your box because they want their identity to be tied to whatever it is that they're purchasing. But for me, I look at that as that's the first foot in the door. You want these people to, I'll give you a good example. We have an outdoor adventure subscription box, and the box gets them to make the first purchase, and then after that, we offer them weekly, monthly, quarterly challenges that basically allow them to further experience that identity they want. When they eventually have enough stuff and they don't necessarily need to receive the box anymore, what we're able to do is we're able to transition them into a lower priced subscription where they get to maintain part of the community. They get to continue having that subscription. They still get the service that allows them to fulfill their identity. So even when there's attrition, there's an opportunity to continue having that person as a customer and increase your lifetime value. So looking at the problem from, okay, what's something that's not a red ocean? Like what's something that's not already busy versus like, what else can I do to fulfill that person's desire for what they purchased this box for?
Yeah, that's a great point. Love that. Great answer. Question number 5 goes to Anthony Coombs of Splendies. AC, you're a pioneer in the subscription box industry and no different in your particular niche, which is subscriptions for underwear. You have been able to not only grow despite the rise of competition in your particular niche, but also pivot when needed. Anthony, what would you say is the number one thing subscription box owners should be worried about for 2021?
Sure. Thank you so much for having me on. Without any question, it's unpredictability in 2021 because what happened with the worldwide pandemic of COVID, which has been awful and ravaging communities and everything all over the world, what you saw is a spike in e-commerce and in subscription boxes. And so there's no way that you were going to know that that necessarily would happen to the extent that it did. For example, for us, we at one point had over 20,000 person wait list for our subscription box because we didn't have the inventory. And so I would say forecasting for next year is going to be extremely difficult and it's going to be unpredictable. But the ways in which you can somewhat combat that is if you're a company which has to produce months and months in advance, you may want to think about just having excess inventory on hand, which can, sometimes create cash flow issues, but that would enable you not to have to deal with what can be a stressful issue with a wait list or, heaven forbid, having to turn away customers. And then if you're a smaller company, which you can purchase more on the fly, where you can purchase maybe a month out, maybe have vendors just available on the ready. That way, if there's another huge spike, you're able to say, hey, we've already negotiated this. We want to go ahead and get this product in right away because we don't know how long this is going to last. We'd have no idea what it's going to entail for the next year. And so you just have to be aware that there may be some very up months. There may be some times when it slows down, but you are able to make sure that you're aware of the unpredictability so you can hopefully deal with that when it comes.
Yeah, unpredictable is an understatement for sure. It's been a quick 2021. Hopefully things get a little better in 2020 for 2021. Thanks, AC. Question number 6 goes to Olivia Canlas of Meowbox. Olivia, you work very closely with influencers in your particular space, which, if you haven't guessed already by just the name Meowbox, it's cats, guys. It's for cats. Where are some areas subscription box entrepreneurs should be focusing on when it comes to influencers in 2021? And how do you approach influencers to get the most out of them, if that's even a fair thing to say?
Yeah. Thanks for having me on. Social media, love this question, social media marketing. So for influencers, our big focus for next year is going to be quality over quantity. I've seen other companies and even ourselves at one point just sort of getting as many boxes out there as possible and seeing what happens. And we're going to sort of still continue with the volume of boxes that we send out for influencers, but sort of more focus on people who we can see converting for us better. New area for us to explore for next year is going to actually be we always focus quite a bit on Instagram, but we would like to explore TikTok. So now that we know it's here to stay, at least for a little while longer, it's just such a new landscape. We don't know exactly how we're going to do this, but we're big fans of sort of trying and seeing what happens and going from there. I don't even know if the influencers in this space quite know how to sort of, I guess, monetize from supporting companies like us, like Meowbox and other subscription boxes. But that's an area that we're really excited to explore. And then in terms of creating relationships with new influencers, one thing for all 7 years of our company's life, the approach that we've always taken is to develop real authentic relationships with the people who we're wanting to contact. So we don't use contracts. For probably 99.9% of our influencer relationships are contract free. And that has worked out very, very well for us. So we continue to do so. So we don't ask people to post a certain number of times. We don't share any sort of major expectations or any expectations at all when we send a box their way. And I feel like that's a more sincere approach and a better way to develop a relationship and trust with an influencer. Treat them like a person. I'm a person, they're a person, and that's sort of always given us the best outcome. And we continue to have relationships with these influencers like through the years.
Yeah, imagine that, treating people like people. That's a it was a great thing. So thanks, Olivia, for that. Question number 7 goes to John from Blue Coffee Box. John, you've always been creating successful businesses for a long time. You've personally worked with Michael E. Gerber of the E-Myth Revisited. For the listeners, if you haven't already, please read that book. It's one of my top ones that I usually recommend. But John, Blue Coffee Box actually came to fruition as a bet of sorts to your podcast listeners. Side note, John has over 600 episodes on his podcast, by the way. So I feel a little underwhelmed being the host here. But John, for someone who's overthinking their idea, is whether it's analysis paralysis, whatever, we've heard all the terms, how would you get them started? If you were to start a new subscription box in 2021, how would you go about it? And I know it's a loaded question, but I guess try to, if you can, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So most people who've not had a business before get a bit worried where they start. What if it all goes wrong? So one thing to bear in mind, when you launch your business, no one's looking. No one's heard of you, except your mum. Your mum will buy one. That's not going to help you. So don't worry. Nobody's looking. You can improve it. Once you've got something going, you can make it better. In fact, in my businesses, I always explain to my staff that there's nothing wrong. No one can ever do anything wrong. They look up to me, and I've been doing it for ages. When I started, I was a complete idiot. I knew nothing. But I had no one to tell me. So we have 2 states. We have good enough for now, better. And we're constantly trying to move good enough to now to better. And that then becomes good enough for now, better. That's all there is. So everything can be improved, but there's good enough for now. So when you start, the most common question for people is, what do I use? Do I use Cratejoy or Shopify? What platform? Most people make the mistake of asking everyone else. They never qualify that person's expertise. So you'll get a load of people who'll say, you should use WooCommerce, or you should use Wix. I use Wix. You never see that person say, how many subscribers have you got? So get over the platform. Customers, marketing is where you need your expertise. So pick something that's simple. I started with Cratejoy because I figured it just does the job. We didn't have to hire a programmer. We originally thought we were going to have to hire a programmer. Then we found Cratejoy. It's like $40 a month. You think, really? And there's Subly. If you get, I can only ever talk to you about Cratejoy because I've only ever used it. So don't ask me my opinion on Shopify. I have e-commerce sites. There was no Shopify when I started. We're fine with ours. So Cratejoy works, and we got on with marketing. So pick something that is designed for the job, unless you are some kind of programmer. And if you are some kind of programmer, you are never going to sell a thing, because you're going to spend all your time programming a site that nobody is going to see, because you're going to spend time programming it and not launching it. So you've got to get launched. You cannot do it wrong. It may not look great. Go back and look at, go back through the archives, Google it and look at what the original Google page looked like. Look at what the original Amazon website looked like. Think of any great website and you can find the original version. Those were good enough for them, and they improved as they got customers and could afford to improve. So you have to get launched, and you have to spend 80% of your time getting customers and marketing. Otherwise, there is no business.
That's right. It's a great point. Finally, for the first round of questions, question number 8 goes to Sherry and Halim from AV Tree and AV Tweens. You guys, when you start a subscription box in a market where there were no subscription boxes, you guys are the first one in Egypt. I think it's still not really a big thing there. It wasn't a thing in Egypt anyways when you first launched. So you guys are planning a lot more, obviously. Sherry or Halim, whichever one wants to answer this one here, what would you say to someone who thinks a subscription box would never work, or in their country, or maybe in their particular niche?
I'd actually say go for it. A virgin market is actually more of a rather an opportunity than a difficulty. As long as the challenge your subscription service is about to solve is present in your market in a very obvious way, obviously your brand, you have a great chance to highlight your brand and an even greater chance to market your service. So with the proper research preceding the launch of the idea itself and the relative market testing, you would succeed in placing your subscription service easier. I would say easily, not easily, but easier. So for either AV3, which is our main box, the beauty subscription box, or for AV Tween that we are about to launch now, the Tweens Essential box, we take our time really researching and creating like the proper accurate analysis of the market and the niche we are about to address. First, we give it a time frame of at least 4 months just doing that before putting the idea into any kind of action. And this validates the idea enough for us to help us tremendously, one, put our minds at ease that this idea is not going to fail. Even if it doesn't do it doesn't reach the best case scenario, but it will not fail. And the second thing is, of course, to ensure that we are going to make profits in an early stage, that it doesn't affect our growth plans. And so, yeah, I'd say go for it, but with the right research of the idea and validation of the idea before you go.
Yeah, validation. What a key point for sure. I mean, that's obviously number one when you're launching any business. Let's get back. You guys have all had the chance to answer one question, so thanks for that. We're gonna get kind of into the second round. Question number 9 goes to Liam Brennan of Busterbox. You're gonna lead us off in the second round here, Liam. How important is it to be part of a community of like-minded individuals? And are there any tips to engaging in masterminds or groups, maybe specifically in our subscription niche? Do's and don'ts, if you will.
Yeah, I think masterminds give you a massive advantage, and it's just a great place to be part of, because everybody in the particular mastermind will all be looking to reach the same goal. And we all might be different experts in different stages of advertising. Like I might be good at Facebook, somebody could be good at influencer marketing, somebody could be doing really well with Google Ads, somebody could be getting thousands of people signed up through affiliates. If we all meet together and combine that information, it improves everyone in the group. And the do's and don'ts, I'd probably say, if you are getting involved, is don't take more than you give. Don't be silent. Actually participate. You'll be surprised at how much information you know, even if you feel like you're in the early stages. Because you'll probably have some information that will be able to help other people solve a big problem in the mastermind.
Yeah, it's pure gold. I think what was it? Give more than you take. That's so true. And I think not to be silenced is another huge one. I've been part of a few masterminds where you barely know one person, but you know that it's too bad because they're not really taking full advantage of that community. Question number 10 goes to Anthony Coombs of Splendies. Anthony, in your opinion, how can subscription box entrepreneurs best utilize paid ads, pics, videos, carousel? Now I'm hearing is a popular thing on Facebook for the ads, or maybe it's an area they might not have thought of, such as TikTok or Pinterest, kind of like what maybe Olivia mentioned. Are there certain trends you see coming in 21 that folks can take advantage of?
Sure. So as Olivia said, TikTok is definitely something that a lot of people are getting into and should be. But across all platforms, the content has to be good. That's one of the biggest mistakes I see. It's like day one, line one, but they'll put out, photography which isn't professionally done and be like, hey, my Facebook ads aren't working. And it's like, well, here you go. Here's why. And then also short videos. I mean, like everything in the world is getting shorter. And so you want to, when we first started, we could do 5 or 6 minute videos. And no one's watching a 5 or 6 minute video anymore. So now we whittle them down to about 3 minutes, and now we are about 15 seconds or less. So can you convey what you are offering in 5 seconds? It's hard, but that's where pretty much everything's going. And the other thing I would say, as far as a big mistake that I see a lot of first-time entrepreneurs do, is that they try to master every single platform. And that is near impossible. We've been doing this for a long time, and we maybe only have a couple down pretty well. If you can figure out one and do it really, really well, congrats, and then just double and triple down on that, and you can do really, really well, as opposed to trying to spread yourself so thin to where you're trying to do just okay, or just doing a mediocre job on many different things. Find the one that works, and then just go for that, and short videos and good content.
Yeah, know where your customers are hanging out, right? And kind of maybe double down on that one. Is that sort of fair to say? Yeah.
Triple down.
Triple down. Love it. Question number 11 goes to Olivia from Meowbox. Olivia, you originally spent a lot of money on your domain, or what seemed to be, I guess, a lot of money back then, which is actually even today would still be enough. Going forward, how important is it for subscription boxes to have a really catchy domain? Is it a problem if they don't? Barkbox, Meowbox, or whatever your niche is, .com is most likely already taken. And maybe if you want to touch on social handles at the same time, if that's a way to gauge how to go about a domain.
Yeah, back when I first purchased the domain, it was a lot of money, especially for a company that was not even a year old. But I knew that the name Meowbox, as opposed to Get Meowbox or My Meowbox, was going to be key. And so I invested in it. So I recommend if you've proven concept and you have an opportunity to purchase a nice, clear, simple domain name, to go for it. I definitely don't regret it. But like you mentioned, those names might not be available anymore, or they're going to be at a price that's going to make it so you can't continue to do your business. So I think that if the catchy name's not out there, and you decide, or if there is and it's too expensive, that consistency across your platforms is key. So if, let's say, for Meowbox, I could only get My Meowbox, then I would want to make sure that it's the same handle that I'm using across Twitter, across Facebook, Instagram. Just too many times when I'm looking for a company's information online or on social, I'll notice that it changes across different platforms, and that's confusing. And especially with a saturated market, you think, okay, maybe this is a different brand that I'm looking at. Of course, if your branding's clear across the board, that helps. But I think in terms of, if you can't get that short, sweet, catchy name, then at the very least, make it consistent across all of your platforms. And then, so yeah, like in terms of, like you mentioned on social, for us, we sort of at the beginning, we switched. We had like Meowbox Canada, Get Meowbox, My Meowbox, and then eventually we did everything we had to do to make it all the same. And I think that's key.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more on that one for sure. Make it easy for people to find you. Question number 12 goes to John of Blue Coffee Box. John, you started Blue Coffee Box when you could argue coffee is one of the most saturated or red ocean niches. Yeah, you once mentioned to me Google AdWords. Google AdWords, how much should subscription businesses, regardless of how saturated their niche is, pay attention to Google AdWords in 2021?
A lot. But it does depend very much on what you're selling, because, so hello millennials. Yes, you all think that Facebook and Instagram are the only things. We used to run businesses. Well, some of us, grey hair, used to run them before the internet. But businesses were fine before Twitter, before Facebook. There was a time. But when you're searching, when you're on Facebook, so you're sitting in your office, you're scrolling down. You are not looking for stuff. You are trying to avoid what you're supposed to be doing. It is a distraction. So the ads, cleverly, are distractions. In fact, you don't even know, most people don't even know they're ads, do they? But on Google is intent. If you want to buy coffee, you're not going to go onto Facebook. You are going to go onto Google and look up coffee. Now, we happen to have a single product. So if you are a surprise subscription, people don't look to subscribe to stuff, because subscribe sounds like, whoa, I'm never going to be able to get out of paying for this. It's a product. So like Liam, you're selling dogs treats, and Anthony, you got underwear. So certain niches will work on Google. But if you have a surprise box, I mean, probably like I don't know, loot crate. And unless you're looking for a surprise box or a surprise gift or something like that, but gifts attract more expensive ads. So there is massive intent on Google, and it's still there and it's not going away. Google, a lot of people would think, well, Google's market share is going down and it's going to go away. It's quite a big company. They know what they do. They'll just buy up the next thing. But I think you should become an expert at Google Ads, and you should give it time. So many people, I mean, Liam, you'll see this on Facebook ads. People say, oh, I've just run these ads and I didn't sell anything. And you want to look at it and you say, well, your website is awful. Would you buy from it? But they haven't got a clue because they haven't studied. Everyone expects to be an expert from day one. You've got to take your time. When I started Google Ads, I followed I followed a course and I just did exactly what they said. Simple as that. I didn't think, well, I won't do that because that doesn't look very interesting. I just did exactly what they said. And I was selling fire extinguishers. That's 2007 or something like that. And now we do it with coffee. Once you become an expert at something, you get quite confident. But Google is the intent engine. So if you want to find out information, or they're not necessarily going to buy, they want to find out about something, and you happen to be there, give them the information, and whoa, they can buy it too.
Make it easy to find, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Question number 13 goes to Bili Balogun of Try Beauty Box. Bili, you literally learned everything for your business by searching online, a lot of the stuff probably on Google, reaching out to hundreds and hundreds of suppliers, going to conferences, trade shows, and being willing to be a student of the industry. With the possibility of more and more conferences being shut down in all industries, and seeing how important it is to physically shake hands and meet some people, how are you personally going to stay on top? How are you personally going to stay top of mind with your suppliers, customers, and colleagues in the industry for 2021?
Yeah, thanks for the question. So I actually think that it might become a bit easier now because people have no other means of communication with potential purchase orders and sales orders, but to actually respond to their emails. So I'm finding that sales reps are way more responsive now, even if it's just to like the first call. It may not work down the line, but at least they're responsive. We've been doing a lot of LinkedIn reaching out as well. I think that it's a good place to start, looking for the buyers or the PR person in that company. That's something that we've been doing. You can't always access people's emails, but that's what we're going to be doing for 2021. So I'm almost more excited with the possibilities of the kind of brands that we can reach out to because they're getting paid to respond to these emails. They're not only looking forward to the trade shows now. So it's great. And obviously building good relationship with brand owners. A lot of the brands, say we get like 6 brands, when we have good relationships with those 6, we can have 6 more brand relationships because we've had good relationships with the first 6, and then they refer us to other people. So keep that in mind. If you, for example, there's a brand we worked with like 2 years ago, we noticed they released a new eyeshadow palette, and the lady also just had a baby, so we sent like those flowers that like the eternal flowers that represent, like her bond with her child, but also matching the colors of the new palette. So little things like that. And now we're the only subscription box that she works with. Little things like that go a long way.
Yeah. Getting past the gatekeepers is going to be key for sure at any times, but especially now with more focus on emails and reaching out. And LinkedIn, you mentioned, is probably a good one to go through. So good tips there for sure. Question number 14 goes to Sherihan and Halim of AV Tree. Maybe, I'm not sure if it's Halim's term here, but you started multiple subscription boxes in different niches and continue to innovate the Egyptian market. For someone looking to expand in a new market, what is the best advice you'd give them for actionable things to start doing in 2021?
Well, expanding is a very risky step, especially in a virgin market like Egypt. When you are targeting consumers or audiences that it's the first time for them to hear about the subscription business. Since a new service can affect one that's already running successfully, if it's not done right. For example, the new AV Twin box that we are launching, it's in the pre-launching phase now. We started to announce it as it's one of the Avail 3 boxes. Why we did that? Because already AV3 is running for 1 year now, and we get the credibility in the market. So we engaged, or we related the new box with the old one that's already running successfully. But it adds a lot of pressure because we need to keep the same the same flow and the same successful things that we are doing in the old box or in the already running box to the new one. So my advice is the innovation. This is the key that we always distribute in the company here. You have to innovate to keep customer want your service. For example, in 2021, we are going to engage our customers with adding the virtual, the AR experience in our boxes, so that they can see the products that they receive or how to use it in an AR experience that keep the engagement higher and the expectations exceeded.
Good. And for the ones who might not know AR experience, you want to just maybe quickly elaborate on that?
AR experience is something like the virtual reality or augmented reality. When we send a box to our members in Egypt here now, it's a beauty box. So there is a flylet inside the box that shows the products, the retail price, where to buy, how to use, and all of this stuff. It was printed at the beginning. Then about 2 months ago, we developed the idea to be a digital version. So they receive a barcode or a QR code in the box so that they can scan the QR code and they download the PDF. It's an an interactive PDF. So if they decided to buy, they click on the product they need. It will direct them to the website directly. So it made a level of engagement more than the printed one. And in 2021, we decided to make the AR augmented reality so that they will be a flylet. But when they scan, the products will pop up in a 3D image or something. The information comes out from the product in an interactive way.
It could be a video of someone using this product, so that it gives them an idea of how to use it or the best ways to mix it with other products.
Exactly.
Yeah. So enhancing the unboxing experience. Exactly. And maybe just quickly show of hands of those who have maybe invested for their own subscription box, something like Taptivate or the Incredible Unboxing, something like that, where you're enhancing the unboxing experience, or maybe planning to, maybe just a show of hands just to see out of the 9 here, how many have that?
Yeah, you guys are lucky. We don't have anything like that. We have to do everything ourselves.
Yes. Well, the only
we don't
reason
have any subscription boxes, affiliate businesses that can help with stuff like this.
Yeah, the only reason I mentioned those two specifically, Taptivate and Incredible Unboxing, is because they were both on the show, and that seems like it's another uptick in things that people are doing to just separate themselves from their competition, is elevating the unboxing experience through video, through voice, those kind of things. So thanks, guys. Number 15 goes to Ryan McKenzie of True Earth. Ryan, you're famous on the Subscription Box show anyways for saying that copy is just the seasoning to the offer. We've talked about that on a couple of occasions, actually. What are offers that you see working well in 2021, whether it's heavily discounted percentages, adding products, or some months that are free, maybe the first month free, that sort of thing?
Yeah, I mean, I think really like what's more important with these offers are that they're matching the correct segment of your audience. So if somebody's top of funnel and never heard of your brand before, what can you do to reduce the friction to have them try your brand? In that case, a first month free. I know a lot of people that are having a lot of success with that. Things like 10% off with when they sign up for SMS works really well, although I'm not really a big fan of discounting. This is the top of funnel layer. For people that are already customers, where you want to drive up that lifetime value or increase their commitment. I have something that I call like a second helping type offer, where what we'll do is we'll incentivize them to change from a monthly subscription or quarterly subscription to an annual subscription. And there's a slight discount when you buy a larger volume, but we try to, like, day to day, we don't offer any additional bonuses. But when we do sales, instead of heavily discounting anything, I just include a high margin item for free with those annual subscriptions. And what winds up happening is we convert so many people to that particular offer, just because, first of all, they love our product already. And then they see the value in getting the bonus. So they're saving a little bit of money and they're getting a bonus. That's really working really well, bottom of funnel. And believe it or not, even when we do these promos like every couple of months and we offer these packages, a lot of people that have kind of been following along or have, you know, watched some of our videos or have engaged with our page, they're even taking that offer because they can see that it's a good deal. And they've been kind of like sitting on the fence for months waiting to take action. This is finally the thing that puts them over the edge.
Nice. Thank you for that. And finally, I've kept the last question for good buddy number 16. Question number 16 goes to John Roman of Battlbox and Carnivore Club. John, being the CMO at Battlbox, you see first and foremost marketing and the challenges associated with that, being a CMO, so the Chief Marketing Officer at Battlbox. Twofold question for you, John. In 2021, what do you forecast being the hardest challenge when it comes to marketing or getting in front of your audience? And how would you go about it if you were A, a new bootstrap business, or B, an established business?
So I think the answer to both about the biggest challenge is the same. It's already been touched on now 3 times on this panel. Customer experience, competition. Everyone is just consistently moving the ball forward and moving that needle of expectations and just what happens in addition to the box, right? Whether it's one of the Amazon unboxing thing you spoke of, to community that comes along with your subscription, to the experience of the unboxing. There's so much that goes into the actual all-encompassing experience, from innovation to AR. I think that's the biggest challenge, is that we're seeing really the envelope continue to get pushed further and further. So it's competitive. And whether it's a direct competitor or it's just another subscription box, at the end of the day, we're all fighting for that wallet share. So I think that's the biggest challenge is how can you push your brand to having a better experience, whether it's through AR, whether it's through QR codes or community. That's the challenge. And I think everyone's going to face it. And I think you'll see several companies, dozens of companies next year that embrace it and are bleeding edge when it comes to experience and thinking outside the box on concepts and ideas. They're going to be the ones that you see with that exponential growth, and just really they'll be the trailblazers.
Yeah, good points for sure. So that kind of makes the end for this kind of segment, which is the questions. You guys each got a chance to answer 2 questions. This is a surprise little lightning round. I did not send to any of you just because I wanted you guys to just answer quickly. And anyone, so you can all unmute your mics. Anyone can just pipe in. It's going to be basically yes or no questions. So here goes the rapid fire round. If you could only spend money on one marketing avenue in 2021, what would it be?
Influencer marketing.
Okay.
Google Ads.
That's such a tough question.
Yeah, it's first thing that comes to mind. You can only spend it on one thing.
Insert marketing.
Still Facebook.
Do we all have to respond?
No, you don't have to.
I think here in Egypt in 2021 we will spend on TikTok.
Yeah.
I say Facebook, and as I say it, a little part of me just dies inside.
Me too, John. Me too. I've been dying for like 35 days.
Favorite influencer size: nano, micro, or macro?
Micro.
Micro
Micro all day.
Micro all day. Okay.
Micro.
I was hoping someone would say nano because it's cheaper for me, but okay, micro it is. Free shipping or paid shipping?
Free
Free
shipping.
shipping.
Are you really asking that?
I am. Yeah. Quarterly.
Built into the price.
Yeah.
So we don't have free shipping on anything, which is like crazy, right?
Right.
Oh.
We have free shipping.
Free shipping makes a big difference for us.
Yeah.
Because
shipping.
nothing is on free shipping in Egypt. So when we say free shipping, already we are so different.
Yeah.
No, that's right. And just funny story, like their episode's not out yet, but when I interviewed Sherihan and Halim, they said that when they shipped out their boxes, it was free shipping. People at the door were trying to pay the courier, and the courier was like, "No, it's free." And they're like, "What?" They're trying to chase them.
Cannot believe
They
it.
can't believe it's free shipping. Next one, quarterly. And this is for 2021. Keep in mind, quarterly or monthly subscription.
Monthly.
If I were to ever start a new subscription, I want to do it quarterly, without question, because it just gives you so much time to plan, and it's, from what I can see, a lot easier. So I would say quarterly if you're going to start out, if you can do it.
Yeah, I would say this too, but I'm not sure. I would love to do it for the same reason, by the way, quarterly, if I'm going to start over, especially with the COVID-19 circumstances. But
Yeah.
I'm not sure if quarterly would make you lose interest of your customers.
That's the
faster,
challenge, right?
or-
Just keeping them
Hard to keep the
engaged.
attention. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And this is a bit of a trick question here. What was the first ever subscription box? Does anybody know?
Ever.
First ever.
I would say that
Box?
Dollar Shave?
Loot
I
Crate?
think Dollar Shave.
I would say
Honestly, but
The
these are records for them.
Wall Street Journal. Wall Street Journal.
Okay.
Well, you're all wrong. So there you go.
I think we read before that the subscription business started around 50 years or 60 years ago,
Yeah.
but in direct.
in concept, not
Yeah,
a
the
subscription box,
concept,
but
yeah.
the concept of subscription boxes or subscription service. But
You're
I'm
you're
not
close.
sure.
You're probably the closest. So I did a little bit of research on this, and some say that the Book of the Month Club, which was started back in 1926
Exactly.
by Harry
Exactly.
Sherman,
Yes.
was the concept that kind of was their first one. But there's others that say the Sampler, which came out in 2004. That's Ryan McKenzie circa era there. Do you remember that one, Ryan? The Sampler.
I don't, but what about like Columbia House Records and
Oh,
Oh, the
yeah.
DVDs and VHS.
yeah,
Yeah.
I seriously, I conned my mom into signing up for Columbia House like 8 times. I don't know how, like, I have
Oh,
so
for
many
sure.
shitty CDs. Oh, sorry.
It's all
You could
good.
get like 12 CDs for $1 or 99 cents
Yeah,
on the initial.
yeah, they were like a penny each, and then you had to pay 20 like something bucks a pop for the next 9.
Well, I'm gonna date you all because I used to collect Columbia House tapes. So I beat you. Olivia's laughing. Are you? Come on. Anybody else with the tapes here? No?
I did the tapes.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, and finally, this is just for you guys here. I guess what's the best place for people to get a hold of you? Let's just quickly plug each your box. I'm gonna just name you so we don't all say at the same time. So let's start with Ryan. Best place to find True Earth and yourself.
www.tru.earth. And you can find me on Facebook. I think my URL is ryan.mckenzie, McKenzie, or you can search me on LinkedIn.
Next up, let's go John from Blue Coffee Box.
So there you go, bluecoffeebox.com. And for all those who think they don't like it, blueteabox.com. And that is the way to find me. I'm around, but I'll be there.
Okay, sounds good. Sherry and Halim, best place to get a hold of you guys, or AV Tree, and soon to come AV Tweens.
Yeah, it's basically avtree.com, avtween.com. And to reach us personally, we're active on LinkedIn, Sherihan Hassibo, Abdel Halim Ata. Of course, the names are not familiar. I'm not sure you'll even know how to spell that. Hopefully, it will be written somewhere.
It'll be hopefully written somewhere for sure.
Yeah.
Liam from Busterbox.
You can find Busterbox at busterbox.com. Me personally, you can find my blog at liammichaelbrennan.com or my subscription box group, Subscription Box Resources, on Facebook.
Yeah, great group for people wanting to join Facebook groups when it comes to subscription boxes. Liam's got some great stuff in his group. A lot of great content always being shared there. Next up, Olivia with Meowbox.
Across any platform, you can find us at Meowbox, whether it's Twitter, Instagram, .com, and all of the above. And to get a hold of me, you can probably literally just mention my name on any of those platforms and the message will get to me. Or just email me, olivia@meowbox.com.
Awesome. Anthony Coombs from Splendies.
Splendies.com, and can always be reached at team@splendies.com.
Thank you. Bili Balogun from Try Beauty Box.
Hey, you can reach out to me at create@tribebeautybox.com by email, and the website is tribebeautybox.com.
Sounds good. Last but not least, John Roman from Battlbox and Carnivore Club. Maybe you want to plug both, Johnny?
Sure. Battlbox, BATTLBOX.com. There's no E in it. And then carnivoreclub.co. You can find me probably best on LinkedIn, just John-Roman.
Sounds good. So I just want to thank you guys all for coming on to this panel. I reached out to you and not one of you blinked an eye. So really appreciate having all of you guys come on. This has been a lot of fun and being part of the international panel of experts for this Sub Summit 2021. Finally, I just want to finish off by saying that when Paul Chambers of SUBTA originally asked me to be part of this amazing event, I felt humbled and extremely honored. So a big thank you goes out to Paul and everyone at SUBTA who helped put this together. Lauren, Jennifer, Chris George, Chris Chambers, and of course the Hodge father, John Haji. Yes, you gotta.
You're gonna keep going with that. I love it.
Yeah, I'm kind of like that guy in high school that had a nickname for everyone, and I'm gonna keep it going in this subscription space. So expect some nicknames coming from you guys too soon. I'd also like to thank my amazing editor, Junard Astiva. He does all the editing for the subscription box show as well. So thanks to Junard, and of course, it could not have been possible without the amazing guests, you guys, who ultimately are the reason everyone else is listening to this. So thanks to all the panelists who took time out of their busy Q4 schedules to do this for the listeners of the subscription industry. So huge thanks to you guys. Thanks guys for taking part. And we'll see you around for the next couple of days around Sub Summit here. So cheers.
Sure. Thank you for having us.
Bye.
Thanks, Eric. Yeah.